Good afternoon. I will call the meeting of the City of Beaumont Historic Landmark Commission to order. Our first order of business is a roll call of attendees.
Chair Blazek.
Here.
Vice Chair Labiche is absent. Commissioner Bell. Here. Commissioner Craig.
Here.
Commissioner Crawford.
Here.
Commissioner Goodness.
Here.
Commissioner Macon.
Here.
Commissioner Segee absent. And Commissioner Templeton.
Here.
Next, we need to consider the minutes from our last meeting. They were circulated in the packet provided by the city staff. If everyone's had an opportunity, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented? If not, is there a motion that they be adopted as written?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded to approve the minutes as written. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any of those opposed? The minutes are approved. And we will begin with our first order of business.
Okay. PZ 2021-1. This case was tabled from the meeting in March. This is a request for a certificate of demolition of the structures located at 2355 Pecos. The structures under review are the main structure and the garage apartment. These were tagged November 18th, 2019, and the report states that there are extensive repairs to be done, such as plumbing, electrical. They'll need to be replaced and then brought up to code. The exterior doors and windows must be replaced as well. Although the outside of the home does seem functional, the interior requires extensive repairs. The garage apartment is leaning and it's rotting on the inside. And right now it's a hazard for potential collapsing. Based on the repairs for building code staff, they recommend a raise order. We received 0 letters in favor and received 2 letters in opposition. One of those, a citizen stated, too many historic homes have been demolished and it's time to realize what's happening in Beaumont. The home can be saved. The garage apartment is okay to demolish. And then we received the other opposing letter, which is in support of the garage only being demolished, not the house. So this is the subject property. To the side, that is the garage apartment right there. You can see that it has a little bit of a lean to it. This is the inside
Of
of the house.
Okay.
And then the floors are scratched. Doors are rotting. And then this is the garage apartment. Okay. We do have the demolition coordinator here today, if you guys have any questions for her.
Okay. Are there any questions?
I have a question. It seemed like last month it was mentioned that this house was in foreclosure and maybe the city had been in contact with the bank. Has anything else come forward about that?
It's actually been in foreclosure since we tagged it, and the bank at this point still has not been able to take over it. The owner has not contacted us, but I believe he's trying to sell it on Craigslist, because we have had a few contractors and one that does purchase a lot of our red tag houses, and he'll flip them, and he did contact me, and he saw it on Craigslist, and he was wondering about the interior because there's no interior pictures that they're showing. So he is trying to sell it for about $80,000, and then there are quite a bit of back taxes that are still owed on it.
Thank you.
There are also additional mow fees and litter fees pending on the property as well. We've mowed it for about 3 years now.
Oh, okay. Has it been empty for those 3 years?
Yes, it's been empty, but we've had problems. The reason we originally got called out there is because we have a bunch of transients, and then there were some known drug users that have been staying in there. One of the toilets upstairs is completely full of needles. So when we got a call from PD. They had arrested one, and another girl's dad was coming to pick her up. And then I red tagged it. The bank did go and secure it from the exterior. They did put up boards, and they've got padlocks on the outside. The house I'm not as much concerned about as I am the garage collapsing on, because they boarded it, but where they boarded it, the frame is rotten. So they jerked the rotten board off the frame, so they're still sneaking up there, and I am afraid that somebody's gonna unfortunately pass out up there, and at some point we could have a fire, or it could collapse while they're in there.
It looks, yeah. I know, I guess from personal experience, there is a home that has been empty for over 20 years across the street from me, and the city has been called out repeatedly by the people who live next door to it about whether there could be something done so that the house could be taken down. And we were repeatedly told that until interior supporting structures are more than 50% rotten, and there's a long criteria of that until those things are met, that house could not be taken down. And I don't see any of that in this report, that this house is beyond some sort of rehabilitation where there's more than 50% of the supporting structures would have to be replaced, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm just curious why, without that, meeting that type of criteria, the recommendation is to actually tear down this house instead of just the garage apartment.
Because there actually is severe damage on the inside. The subfloors, when you walk into the kitchen, like you walk at an angle like this, they have completely been termite eaten and rotten. So they're completely, this half of it's on there, you got to watch where you step. There have been multiple fires on the floor in the living room, so all of that is weak. And I'm assuming you can't see the subfloors on there, but you can tell they're very weak, so I'm assuming that they're either termite or rotten underneath there as well. The homeless have built multiple fires. All of the ductwork has been completely ripped out because they were still in the copper wiring and everything that they can out of it. So there is quite a, I mean, you're looking probably about, I'm going to say anywhere between $75,000 to $125,000 worth of damage to the inside.
Okay.
Plus, on top of that, you got back taxes and then what he's asking for the foreclosure.
Do we know what the amount of back taxes and fees
Let me
are?
see if I have it
I
in
can
here.
look at- And also not to mention, whenever you're inside and you're going on the staircase, inside the stairs sink as you're climbing the stairs to the
Okay.
next level
On the inside?
on the inside. So when we were walking up from the first to the second floor to see more damage, you could physically feel the stairs sinking as you're climbing them.
And I apologize, the taxes are caught up. The bank did go ahead and pay them. So they are caught up, so I don't know if they plan on going into foreclosure, or if they've even started the proceedings on it. They said in 2000, when we tagged it, that they were doing it, but he's still trying to sell it, and it's still legally in his name. Now, I do notify the bank anytime we do anything to it, or any
Mhm.
letters go out, the bank is notified as well. Most of the time, they don't contact me back.
So if he's trying to sell it and you have a contractor who's contacted you to maybe see about potential of purchasing it to renovate, can we postpone this once again? Because that's a little bit different progress than what we had information last time, and just finding out about the taxes being paid. So I feel like there's some hope, or at what point do you just quit extending?
No, I mean, there's been a number of houses that we have worked with for much longer than this, just a couple of months. There was, you know, the house that ultimately, unfortunately, had to be torn down, but it was years, the one that was behind the apartments that we worked with all that time. But he was trying to do the renovations himself. I personally am of a mind to take down the immediate danger, get the garage apartment demolished, but deny the application on the main house to see, you know, what ends up happening. I know that sometimes it's the red tag that actually prompts the bank to do something. Then they file a temporary injunction to prevent the demolition, and then they go into an agreement that way. But to me, since the house has now been secured and there's no longer any entry into the home for illicit purposes, just take care of the immediate danger to the surrounding neighborhood. And let's see give people time to try to save the house.
Can I ask if that's the route y'all choose to take, is there a timeline of when y'all would like to see this back if nothing is done? Do y'all want to see it again in 6 months? Would you like to be updated on it next year this time? Or is there a time y'all would like to set?
Yeah, for 6 months.
I mean, I think 6 months is fair. And of course, if there's ever anyone that lives in the immediate vicinity of the home, an actual neighbor that is concerned because of what's encroaching on their property or what it's bringing, into them, and they would like us to address it sooner than that, I'm happy. But it seems like everyone that actually lives in the immediate vicinity of this home is also in favor of trying to save it and see if there's someone who will take on the project of restoring it. So,
I'll make a motion that we table this for 6 months on demolition of the house, but I do propose demolition of the garage apartment. And we'll revisit the house in the
Okay.
future.
all right, is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Case number PZ 2021-74 is a request for a certificate of appropriateness to reduce the amount of windows on the front left facade of the house located at 2375 McFadden. Additionally, he is asking for permission to add shutters to the windows and replace the brick columns over here that they were once there. Replace the brick columns of the carport to be made of a wood material. All of these requested items, except for the shutters, have been completed without the benefit of a CA. Mr. Pryor has not delineated a color yet that he would paint the shutters. So I don't know any information on that one. Staff is recommending denial of this request. This is what's current there. So you can see the reduction of the windows right here. Yep, and then to the side, those were once brick. And now they're made of wood. Oop. Previous. There we go. So it's going from 3 windows to 2 windows on, let me go back one more. Elena, can you hit back one more? 3 windows up top to 2 windows here, and then same on the bottom.
And it had always been 2 windows immediately over the door?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in their packets.
It was in the
And
spare report?
Mr. Pryor is here, if you
right.
guys have any questions for him.
No, ma'am, the property was not in spare.
Okay.
And the grass has been mowed.
Thank you. Mr. Pryor? If you would just state your name for the record and where you live.
Okay. Yes, it's Malcolm Pryor. Yes.
Yes,
And-
sir. And your address?
Oh, my address is 5502 Willow Peak Court,
Okay,
We're Sharon, Texas 77583.
all right. And you've purchased this home?
Yes, I'm a partner. in the
Okay.
purchase of the home, yes.
And did you understand that it was in the historic district and needed to have permission for exterior
No,
changes
ma'am.
to be made?
I didn't. And actually, I had a general contractor that started on it, and I asked that person, that that need any permits, and they said they didn't need any permits to start on this project.
Yeah. Fortunately, that's an ongoing education process for us, to let people know about that. What our purpose is here as the Historic Landmark Commission is to try to preserve the exterior integrity as much as possible of the historic homes in our neighborhood. And we normally have an architect member of the commission here with us, Mr. Don Labiche. Unfortunately, his family has suffered a recent loss, and he's unable to be with us here today. And I know that one of the things that he would tell you is that just as the eyes are the window to your soul, the windows are the eyes of a home, and they are what reflects so much the character of these historic homes. And that's why one of the, I think, strictest things we try to adhere to, we've made some concessions to some other issues, like we know everybody can't have tile roofs anymore and meet windstorm codes and things like that as easily, but keeping the same size of the window and the appearance of the window. We don't require people to make them out of wood anymore, but we want them to look the same size and the same appearance. So if it's like your door has divided lights in it, and you wanted to replace the door, it would have to have the same number of lights and the same pattern.
I get it.
I don't know what this house had before, as far as the window pattern, since this wasn't in the we did a survey of all the historic homes in our area over 20 years ago, and it took a photograph of every home to try to keep those kinds of details with us.
It was 4/1.
It
The
was
4
4/1.
skinny with the 1 large.
Okay. Like the house next door, it looks like, to the right.
Yes.
Yeah, that house has that too. And that's the other thing. So many of these houses were built, at a similar moment in time when those types of details are in a number of the houses on the same block, and so you don't want one to stick out like a sore thumb. You want it to keep within the facade of the overall block face. So are there windows that are available that you could have done the 3 so that you would have the same overall size of the window?
I'm not sure, because my contractor actually bought the windows in bulk. I'm not sure if we had anything else available. I just wish I would have done before that. I would have, of course, made that change before.
If you would have done this because you have to have permits,
Right.
if you would have done that, they would say, hey, you're in the district.
Yeah,
You would have came and saw me first.
exactly.
And the same thing with the carport over to the side. That was probably an original porte cochere that had the brick columns like
Brick
the
columns.
brick on the original porch. And so we try to maintain those details as well.
Are all of the windows in the house being replaced or just the ones on the front?
All the windows replaced. Yes, ma'am.
How much can be seen from the side? Not much.
You can't, from the side, you can't see much of the profile. You can definitely see where the brick columns have been removed.
Right,
But as far as windows,
okay,
the way the overhang is
Mhm.
shaded, you can't see
Okay.
anything.
All right.
And on the right side of it, the tree covers most of that side, so.
were the windows changed out?
I believe, about 6 months ago. Yeah, about 6 months.
Do you still have the original?
No,
No.
I don't.
Are you still working with that same contractor?
No.
Because to me, this is his problem to fix for you.
Right.
And, because I believe that the windows on the front of the house need to be the same size.
Same size.
That they were replacing. And I would prefer that they be the same arrangement, the 4 narrow over the 1 solid. I just don't know if those style is available in any size anymore.
What we've done in the past is had them apply the strips to the windows, the little,
Right, right.
Yeah.
to
Okay.
create that look.
Look, okay. All right. Are there any other questions for Mr. Pryor? Was there anything you wanted to tell us?
No, that's, yeah, nothing else I can think of.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I know how to go through the proper procedure now.
All right,
Yeah.
well, good. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
All right.
I will give him the credit. He has been very good about communicating with us when we say, hey, we're missing this. He'll get with us as soon as he was made aware of the problem. He
Came in immediately.
filed for application, so.
And unfortunately, just not every contractor is familiar with it until they work in the historic district. I fell victim to the same thing. So when we were doing work on our house, our initial contractor was not aware. And since it was his responsibility to pull permits, I thought, anyway, so I understand. Is there anyone who'd like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. I recommend that we deny this request and that new windows be installed, the same size and placement as the house before the windows were removed.
All right. And that the porte-cochere columns remain brick.
I'm having trouble seeing that. They are wood now.
They're wood now
Yeah,
because the
now I'm
brick has
gonna-
been demolished.
It's easier on this photo.
And that the columns be put back in their original state, which was brick.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? No. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Did we just do that one?
Case number
Yeah.
PZ 2021-76 is a request for a certificate of demolition to demolish the existing residential structure located at 1974 Liberty. The owner is requesting this demolition. He states the current condition of the structure is beyond repair. The city has not tagged this structure, but we did review it with the demolition coordinator and she was in favor. Staff received 2 letters in favor. And 1 letter was marked neither in favor or opposition. We received it via fax machine. Half the letter was cut off, so we couldn't read the entire writing on it, but the only writing that was legible is I feel the trees and shrubbery along, and that was it.
Okay.
We received 0 letters in opposition.
All right.
And planning staff does recommend approval of this request.
Okay.
So here's the subject. And then a zoomed in picture of the ramp or stairs right there. It's tough to tell, but you can tell that it's in disarray.
All right. Are there any questions of the demolition coordinator or staff? Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the staff report on PZ 2021-76.
Second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's approved.
Case number PZ 2021-81 is a request for a certificate of demolition to demolish the garage located at 2410 South Street. Building code stated that the garage has multiple rotten and deteriorated support beams. The two garage doors are broken and stuck in place. Shrubs have screened most of this structure from the right-of-way. Based on the extensive repairs needed to bring this structure into compliance, building codes is recommending a raise order of the garage. We received one letter in favor for the demolition of the garage only.
Okay.
So here's the subject property. And then this is the garage
Oh, man.
in the back. So you can see how the doors are stuck where they are. They can't be moved.
Is
And
the house for sale right now?
It
yes,
looks like it.
Yes.
Yes,
Um,
the owner actually signed a demo consent. He came in, he's trying to sell it, and that's why he wants to get that taken down as
Yeah.
quickly as possible.
There are some doors and windows we can use on another property.
I know, I wish you would donate those to somebody.
And then there's another side of the other side of the garage.
Okay.
And like that one before the garage door's off the tracks. And then that's the overgrowth.
I guess out of sight, out of mind.
And then you can see it's like rotting and
Mhm.
split.
All right.
I make a motion that we approve the demolition of the garage structure for PZ 2021-81.
I second it.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? None. It's approved.
Case number PZ 2021-82 is a request for a certificate of demolition for the garage apartment and shed located behind 2541 Broadway, and it has the address of 2449 Broadway. Building code states that the structure is unsafe and the building is beginning to lean. The roof has plastic covering the parts of it, and the rafters have rotted from the exposure to the elements. All of the windows are broken and the stairway is unsafe to travel. The small shed is located behind the garage apartment and has already collapsed. Building codes is requesting for the debris to be picked up as well. Based on the extensive repairs, they are recommending a raise order of the garage. So this is the front of the property as you drive by, and that's 2541 Broadway. And then this garage apartment is in the rear. So these are the stairs that are unsafe.
Wow.
And then that's the tarp on the top. Rotted wood. And you can see the windows are boarded up.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we, raise the PZ 20221-82.
Second.
All right. Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. It's approved.
Case number PZ 2021-87 is a request for a certificate of demolition for the house and the shed located at 2555 McFadden. Building code states that the house is sinking caused by foundation issues. Half of the roof has been covered with a tarp. The doors have been broken into and are now covered by wood to deter anyone to enter. All of the windows would need to be replaced and the frames are rotted. The electrical wiring would need to be brought up to the 2014 NEC code. Based on the extensive repairs needed to bring this structure into compliance, Building Codes is recommending a raise order. Staff recommends approval of this request. So here's the subject property. That's the side. And you can see like kind of the shed back there, but I'll get some close-up ones here. The front of the house, sides, side. You can see the windows are deteriorating, or the framing, it's boarded up. This is inside the home. And then this is the shed in the back. And you can see the roof is collapsing there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll stand under that.
Any, response from
No,
neighbors
we
on
received
anything?
0 in favor and 0 in opposition.
All right,
I will say, David Bradley did call and report this one as well.
okay. All right, is there a motion?
Was this on the spare Beaumont
No,
survey?
none of the houses this time were in the spare.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion that this PZ 2021-87 be approved to demolish the house and the shed.
I second it.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
I will point out that some of the windows in that home were a 4/1 window. I don't know
Oh,
what
okay.
size they were.
Okay, I saw
That-
3/1, but I wasn't
I thought-
aware it was
I thought I
4/1.
saw 4.
Okay.
Well, maybe it is just the 3.
I
Okay.
made a note, I was gonna ask about that, like, if it's gonna be demolished, can those windows be saved for other projects from these other people that need them?
If you would like to get with me, I can get you in contact with the owners because they signed a demo consent, so they may be willing to allow you to take the windows.
Yeah. I know just for future reference, the way it's been explained to me is that when the city goes out for these demolition contracts, and the contractors bid on them, it's with the house as it is, not stripped or anything. I guess it's up to the demolition contractor to determine whether they want to try to salvage anything.
Correct.
Once they win the contract.
Yes, it's up to the contractor. The only tricky thing with that is you got to catch the contractor there.
Right.
So on this particular one, the owner signed a demo consent. They want it torn down, so I'm sure they'll be more than willing to let whoever wants to take the windows or if they're
Or to take
needed.
any other
Yeah.
salvage that they might try to do.
Yeah.
All right.
It's too bad we don't have something like Galveston does.
I know, it was
Their
one of those,
historical group went
that was
back and-
Ralph Jordan's dream,
Yeah,
was to
yeah.
try to start something like that. And one of the
know.
biggest problems was finding a place to store what you've
Exactly.
salvaged.
But that would eliminate a lot of problems
Yes.
for
Uh-huh.
people who come in here.
It would. Oh, please tell me this isn't on the list.
Not
Oh,
to demo.
Thank God.
Case number PZ 2021-96 is a request for a certificate of appropriateness to install 17 solar panels on the roof of his home. The
Oh.
placement of these panels would be visible from the street right-of-way. In the article National Trust for Historic Preservation, it appears to be in favor of solar panels in the historic districts, given that they are not visible from the street right-of-way. The property owner, Charles Thomas, currently has a stop work order, or work orders posted for the existing accessory structure in the rear of the property. The first stop work order was posted in January 2018 because he renovated the structure and installed a sewer line without necessary permits from planning or building codes. The second stop work order was posted in 2018 because he demolished half of the structure and rebuilt the structure with recycled materials, or rebuilt it with recycled materials. Because he did this without an approved building permit and recycled materials, he must hire a third-party structural engineer to approve the structure's stability. Staff recommends denial of this request until the property has come into compliance. This is the subject property. He would be placing them on this side of the home. This is the accessory structure in the back. This is what was once there. And then this is present or current. And this is the side. And the property owner is here. He is present. If you guys have any questions for him.
Yes, sir. Mr. Thomas? And again, if you would just state your full name for us and your address for the minutes.
Charles Thomas, 2394 Calder,
Okay.
Beaumont, 702. There were a few inaccuracies in that statement she just made. First of all, I didn't have a sewer line put in there till January of 2019, and the guy did have a permit. I have a copy of it right here. Now, what happened with that house, in that back house, was that I employed a contractor to do work. Matter of fact, he had so much work to do in my property, he had to stay at my house. So I told him he had to have a permit to do the back. We already had a permit for the front. So he told me he was going to finish up the work in the front and he would get a permit for the back. And then he came back and told me that the permit for the front was good for the back. And I'd given him $30-some thousand to renovate the back house. And I made sure he knew he needed a permit. Because I've gotten several certificates of appropriateness. But the guy, he told me that the front of a permit was good for the back. So he just went and started tearing down stuff. He didn't ask me, is it all right if I go ahead on and tear that down and that down? He just did it. I sued him. I filed charges against him with the county the sheriff's department, and I'm disabled. I'm a disabled vet, and they got him for taking advantage of a disabled person and misapplication of funds and all kind of things. They had him for. He went to court. They had him ready to go to trial. Then COVID hit, got postponed a year, and by the time it was time for him to come to trial again, they dismissed all cases involving contractors, like in that case, in that situation. So I still am yet to get justice on this property. But another problem was Boyd Meyer. I talked to Boyd Meyer about this problem when it first came up.
Mm-hmm.
I only remember ever having one red tag. One from the, but I got two red tags, but it was both for the same thing. It was for that building. So one was by the historical district and one was by the city. But Boyd told me to have it inspected by Ted Harp, the engineer. And Harp came and he said it needed demolishing. It was totally screwed up. I mean, the foundation is bad. All the wood is rotting all around it. And I called Boyd Meyer and told him what the Ted Harp had said. He said, I'll get back with you. I've never heard from him since. That was quite a while back. But I didn't worry about it till the solar panels came up.
Okay.
Okay.
So, as I understand it, the structural engineer has told you that this back building is not structurally intact and
That's
needs
correct.
to be torn down.
He said it cannot be salvaged.
Okay, and so would you want the city to demolish it for you? as these other owners have asked for
I know
their
it's an
outbuildings.
eyesore. I don't know what to do about it. Right now, it's serving as a pretty good storage room for me. But I really don't know what I could do to improve it. I put 2 new windows in the front, and all the rot is going out around them. So the guy was supposed to replace the wood too, but he didn't. I'm not anxious to get it torn down. but
Okay, all right.
Something needs to be done.
Yes, sir. To my knowledge, Mr. Thomas, you're only the second property in the historic district that has applied for the installation of solar panels on the roof of your home. And I know that when the first one came up, we had an extensive discussion about it. Some of our members ended up doing some independent research on it. And it was our understanding that, as they stated, the National Historic Company or foundations that look at this on a national level have indicated that we should be open to allowing solar panels in our historic districts, but only when they cannot be seen from the street right of way. And I know that's the shady side for you. And that was also the instance with Mr. Buscemi, who was the first person that came before us that was wanting to have them installed on his roof. That when we delimited it to those areas where we couldn't see it from the street and you could get as much, coverage as you wanted over that square footage, he decided that it was no longer, I guess, viable in his mind to even go to the bother of putting in solar panels over that area. But I personally do believe that is going to now be my precedent that has been set. And I am, just like you, I'm on that side of the street. It means I'll never be able to put solar panels on my home because it would be on the front-facing facade of my house. And my husband's now taking care of cutting down some more trees in our backyard, and so maybe we would eventually get enough sunlight on that north side of the house. I don't know if it would ever be feasible for us, but that to me is the precedence that I feel that we've set.
I just want, there has been 3 applications. One of them was approved on Ashley because everything was on the rear of the roof and not visible
To the street
at all.
Okay.
It's 2300 block. I don't remember.
Yeah,
the
and I
exact
guess
address.
we're only aware of the things that come before us that staff can't take care of personally. And Mr. Thomas, if you would like to address us, we'd love to hear from you, but I have to ask that you approach the microphone again to make sure that we make a recording of it.
I was just gonna say that the representative for Sunpro said that the rear of the home would not work at all. So it's too much shade. So my other question is, that big oak tree behind my house, is it available for cutting down?
If it's on your property, it is solely your decision about whether to remove a tree
I
or
don't
not.
know. It looks like everything I do over there has to be run
No,
by
I
you
understand,
We
but
have no ordinances regarding trees.
it's not a structure. All we are concerned about are the structures
Oh,
that are
okay.
within the home.
Okay.
Anything, trees, the way you do your landscaping, that part of it, we have no say over.
Well, yeah,
So-
but I had to get the fence approved.
Right, because fencing is something that we want to make sure that only certain materials are used for fencing within the historic district.
Okay.
But whether you have a tree or not, that is going to be your decision.
So if I took the tree down and there was enough sun back there after that,
Yes, sir. I think that then the city staff would approve that since it would not be visible from the street.
would it need to be approved again?
You would have to come up to the staff, but they would be able to give you the approval. You wouldn't have to wait for us to meet once a month.
Okay.
Can I recommend though, because we had the same company come to our house about installing solar panels. Ours faces the other way, our house faces north, and so we talked about putting it on the south side. And we wanted it to be on a certain side of the house because we didn't want it visible like when we're in the backyard, so we had this other structure. And I had the same thing, I said, well, if we cut down the tree, can we do it? And he said, that doesn't matter, you still don't have enough square footage in that particular area. So before you cut down the tree, I would have them come out again, so that you don't cut the tree and then say, I have room, and they said, no, you still don't have enough room, just to double check, because that happened with me.
Okay.
I would like to also comment that his rear is visible from this side street here.
Okay.
And now looking at this photo with the tree, it's because, it's just the way the sun and the times and where you are, I don't think even if you cut that tree down, it's still because of your roof line, because it looks to me like your roof line is here and the tree's here. So it's the way the sun hits, and where we are in that area, the sun hits more to the south.
Okay.
I have a question
And it's a beautiful
on the
tree.
rear structure. Is that a slab foundation? I'm assuming that's a slab.
Yes, it's a slab.
It's a slab
And it's
foundation.
all broken up, crumbly.
Okay.
I don't know what to do about back there.
It's such a beautiful and unique property you have there, I mean, it's just,
It is.
They're
It's
not
the only
many.
house
It's
that
so
I'm aware of
charming.
in our neighborhood that is of this style, and I've just always admired it so.
so
And it's
charming.
looking beautiful.
I try to keep it up as best
You,
I can.
you do a wonderful job, and we appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mueller, do you live there now? Because it used to be a business.
Thomas.
Thomas, I'm sorry, Mr. Thomas.
I'd
Sorry.
like to be Mr. Miller for a few days.
Sorry.
It's not a business right now. It was a business until I had a stroke, and then my wife closed the business.
Okay.
It was old time resale.
Pretty place, yeah.
It is.
Mhm.
And your fence looks great.
It does.
Thank you. I take it I'm not gonna get sold back.
Well, if we could bring back the one that showed the side yard.
That one, or you want?
Right, no, this one.
Okay.
And I have no idea what, because this is kind of getting off into a separate issue. But, you know, if there is a property that's large enough, like this one is, where the solar panels are not an array that's on the roof of the home, but they're an array that are on the ground. I don't know that we've ever addressed that, and I don't know what some pro would say to someone about that.
I do know that in one of those packets that came to you guys for the solar panels, that was the recommendation. I'm not sure if they actually did follow through with that, but we did tell them, you know, you can have the ground solar panels, the ones that face up.
Right.
We recommended that, but I
'Cause
think it
this-
was going to be in the backyard.
Yeah.
And the one on Ashley that did install panels, they do have one panel in their yard as well as the ones on the roof.
Right. Okay.
And theirs must be well hidden, because I haven't seen it.
Well, it's in the backyard, you
Okay.
can't see it from the street.
Yeah.
But whenever they were installing them, we got a complaint that they were going in without permits and nothing.
All right. Any other discussion? If not, is there a motion?
I would like to make a comment or request, or, you know, this is such a beautiful place, and I know, I've had property that people have told me that, a structure wasn't salvageable, and it was, and so I would just really encourage maybe getting some second opinions on the outbuilding, because that does add so much to the home and for your function. I would just try to get some second opinions on getting that up to code, on salvaging it and getting it up to code.
I've been wondering about something. Is it possible to build back like it was, like it is? Build back like it was in that first picture?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And that's an example of a certificate of appropriateness that the staff will approve when you go up to the second floor. If you're saying, this is what it is, and I am wanting to go back exactly the way it is, I'm just going to be, refurbishing it.
But I would
As
have
far
to-
as the historic aspect of it, you would not have to come back before us necessarily.
Can you show that photo?
But I think it would have to be rebuilt.
It would.
Completely.
It would have to probably be completely rebuilt with what has
Like
been
that.
done to it so far. But if you wanted to say, I want to rebuild this with this same type of roof, the same style of roof, all of that,
Well, the roof is still there, isn't it? And
Yes.
it's just that the stairs were taken down and the details, and then obviously the paint color is the big thing.
well, and
They
I
took
don't,
down the sidewalls.
yeah, he took down all of the below, all that, what I would consider the first floor outside sheathing has been replaced.
Right.
And to add, from a planning perspective of it, right now the building is legal non-conforming as far as the setbacks. So because they demoed it, that grandfather went away. So they would have to build back that structure at that, at the correct setback, which I believe is 5 feet on that side. I can verify that though. I'm trying to look at the map in my head.
So is it like this back shed structure
Right.
can't be
Sits
there?
on the property line, and whenever this all started, we informed Mr. Thomas that because he did demo the one side and rebuild it, it would have to come forward to meet these setbacks. It couldn't.
Now, the
If
other.
he wants the shed
Right, and
off the back. But if, without the shed off the back, the main structure, does it have to be
That
relocated?
it extends through the main structure. So because he
Okay.
did that, it would have to come back into compliance. Now, you can go and try to get a variance. We can talk to the director of planning, but a variance is most likely the process after if you did want to rebuild at that
Exact location.
exact location.
Well, that shed is still back there.
Right, but whenever you guys demoed, then
We
that,
just took the walls down and the stairs and the overhang on the other side.
I understand, but that does constitute as a demo when you start taking down walls, start messing with foundation and whatnot. So that's why we have to go before the Board of Adjustment to potentially get a variance for that if you wanted it to go back up.
Me too.
Yeah.
To me, it looks like it's the same structure, it's just that you took the stairs off and painted it different and,
The roof off.
yeah.
It's this
What was
salvaged
taken down?
material that all of this exterior siding.
Yeah, but the shape of it.
But the
seems
shape
to
is what I'm
be-
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shape, the size and the shape doesn't seem different to me. Is
The-
it
But the
different
way
material?
ordinance reads is, it's legal non-conforming, so because it was there, it could stay there, but once he removed those walls, it has to meet new
That's what I
setbacks.
don't understand,
Even
which
if
walls
you
were
did it
removed.
without permission
Even
from
if you
me?
did it without
Permission, Mr. Thomas.
Jeez.
And then
Change our
on,
whole lives.
then on the building code side of it, if Ted Harp or an engineer has told you that the foundation and the structure are not good, you're gonna have to come all the way down, pour a whole new foundation, so
That's
it would
what I'm
still have to
asking.
come completely down.
Yeah, you're asking if I went down to bare earth and was said, I want to rebuild what you see,
Right.
can I do that? And I think what they're saying is, you can do it, but it would have to move 5 feet forward or something. But the footprint would have to move it unless you got a variance to put it back in the exact same footprint.
Well, let me ask you this. I would like, well, it seems like it's inevitable that this building is coming down sooner or later, because it's very rotten. And I'd like to put a small bakery in the back, a drive-through bakery. Is that possible?
That, I have no
I do believe
idea.
that that property is zoned as GCMD, which is general commercial, so that's something that we could talk about and discuss if you wanted to do a bakery back there. What I suggest is doing a pre-development meeting, and you'd contact Boyd Meyer via email, and I can give you his email after this. But a pre-development meeting is free. It's on Thursdays, and it has every single department represented. And so basically everyone that's going to sign off on your plans, health department, fire, engineering, planning and zoning. And they can give you exactly what's going to be needed for that project. I think that that would be nice back there.
Well, I always wondered.
I can just see your little logo with that little hipped roof design as the little bakery's open, and it would just be so cute.
You know an artist who can draw that up for him.
That's right. But, man, the neighborhood is gonna be waiting with open ears to hear what happens.
And mouths.
Well, thank you.
All right.
I don't think we ever actually, did we get a motion on that?
Oh, no.
I don't think we ever got a motion.
True. All right. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we deny the request of the solar panels.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right.
Do you all remember that used to be Dr. Jerry Johnson's home?
Mm-hmm.
And she was an antique dealer and really beautiful house.
That's what I remember going and shopping there for antiques, when we first moved back to Beaumont. All right, I guess, we now go to the Historic District Code Enforcement Report.
Hi guys, that's me.
Hello there.
Okay, it's busy. We're back into the start of weed season, so y'all are gonna hear a really big number here in a second. Just know that those are all being reopened as well. Don't worry. So we had a total of 176 inspections completed for the month of March, and it completed with 4 affidavits being filed. We did close 156 cases that have either expired or have come into compliance. A lot of those are weed cases. You know, our notices are only good for a year. We're in the midst of weed season. I'm sure y'all are seeing some high grass right now. When notices go out, they have 10 days to come into compliance. Then we go out, mow. We did 24 court appearances. There was 15 new historic violations with 16 follow-up historic re-inspections, 2 HLC decision monitorings. There was 6 new junk motor vehicles, 8 new litter violations, 38 new weed notices sent out, 7 zoning violations, and that's in reference of businesses being operated at homes, business vehicles being at homes, things like that. And we opened 7 new general nuisance cases as well. Any questions for code? Questions, concerns?
What do you do in your free time?
Raise 4 children, baseball, soccer, try to see my husband.
None for me, but do I understand that a promotion is ensuing and this may be your last report for us?
Yes, Chris has offered me the zoning technician position, so I'd be in office doing a little more of what Demi does, and I would not be a code enforcement officer anymore. So it may be my last meeting with y'all as far as in this capacity, but we haven't hired anybody or picked anybody new for the position or anything, so I'll still be helping y'all for now. Thanks,
Yes,
guys.
congratulations.
Thank you so
I
much.
need her, so she'll be here.
Yes.
All right. Any announcements or other business?
It's Kathy's birthday.
Ah, happy birthday, Kathy.
Birthday. Did you bring champagne?
Cupcakes for
That's right. All right. Well, if there's no further business, we are adjourned. Thank you all.